Hello YouTube family, it's me, Stevie Marie, aka Curly Curvy and Fit, and today we are creating this gorgeous yellow makeup look. Before we get into this tutorial, if you're new, please take the time to subscribe and welcome to the family. And if you're not new, welcome back. I need both my old and new family members to hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload a brand new YouTube video. Now let's get into this look. So I've already done my eyebrows. If you want the tutorial on how I do those, I will put it down in my caption and I will also link it up here. So the palette that I'm going to be using today is by Glamlight, and it is their paint palette. So first I'm going to go in with this brown color and I'm going to use that in my crease. And I'm going to bring it down to the outer side of my eyelid. So the look that I'm kind of going for is that above the crease is going to be brown, the eyelid is going to be yellow, and I'm going to kind of blend it in with the orange, and then the outer side of my eyelid is going to be brown. Just so you get a feel of the colors that I'm going to be using. Now I'm going to go in and cut my crease. And for cutting the crease, I'm going to erase where I want the crease to be with this Q-tip. And I'm using the makeup removing solution by Bioderma. I'm using this to clean my crease before I cut it with concealer, because sometimes when there is already eyeshadow on my lid and I go to put concealer on top of the eyeshadow, it changes the color of the concealer. So that's why I'm just going to go in and clean and take off that eyeshadow before I put the concealer on there. And see, it comes off, the eyeshadow comes off with this water. Now I'm going to go in with the P. Louise concealer in Rumor 2, and I'm going to use this to cut my crease. And I'm going to cut the crease with this concealer brush by ColourPop. And this eye is more hooded than this eye, so what I normally do is I put some concealer on my lid first, and then I look up to see where it actually cuts naturally. So you see where it cuts right here. I'm just going to go in and cut a little higher than that crease. Now I'm still practicing the cutting of my creases because this takes a lot of practice. And now I'm just filling it in with that concealer. And now I cut my crease. So I'm going to allow that to get a little tacky before I put the eyeshadow on. I'm going to go in with the yellow. I'm going in with the yellow, and I'm just going to do the front of my lid in the yellow. I like to use a nice light concealer when I'm using bright colors, because sometimes since I have a darker skin tone, colors don't show up. So with a lighter base, it makes the colors pop. And I'm just going to go in and put this yellow on my lid. I'm just patting, pressing it in into the concealer. Okay, now that I have patted the yellow in, I'm going to go in with orange and just fill in this little gap between the brown and the yellow. Now what's going to be crucial about this step is that you want to blend the orange in with the yellow. So again, I'm using a ColourPop brush, and this is E21, and I'm taking the orange and I'm just patting it into that concealer, but also blending it in with the yellow. So I'm blending, and when I blend, I'm just using swiping motions. That's really pretty. Kind of looks like a sunset. I'm just swiping it so that I'm blending that orange with the yellow. So this is what my eye looks like now. I started off putting the yellow on my lid, and then I went in with an orange on the outer crease to blend it in with the yellow and the brown. So that's what you see right now. Now I'm going to do my other eye. Now that we are done with the eyes for now, I'm going to go ahead and do my face. Now I'm going in with my Laura Mercier primer, and I'm just going to put that in my T-zones, which are what gets oily the most on my skin. Now I'm going to go in with my Skin by Mented foundation in the shade M40, and this is one of my favorite stick foundations. It's so smooth and buttery, and I can rock this foundation when I don't want to look like I have makeup on because it just looks so natural. And I'm gonna go in with my Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques and just blend this into my skin. Now I'm gonna go in with my Juvia's Place concealer, and this is in the shade of 13. Now I'm going to go and blend it all out with my beauty sponge. And I know this looks a little light, but don't be scared. If this is too light for you, I can go back and show you how to make the highlights a little darker. And now I'm going in to contour with the Fenty Beauty matchsticks, and this is in the color Espresso. And this time I use the flat part of my beauty sponge because that also has, sorry, piece of hair on me. That also has some of the mixture from my foundation. And I go in and I blend, 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 blend up for the contour into the highlight. Blending that contour into my skin. And again, if you think some of the highlighted areas are too bright, you can just use the flat part where you've contoured so it has some of that, the shade on it, and you can just go back and pat through the highlighted areas. Like I think my forehead's too bright and I'm just patting that in with the darker shade. Okay, next I'm going to set the areas which I highlighted with setting powder. And one of my favorite setting powders, especially when I feel like the highlighted areas are too bright, is the translucent setting powder by Laura Mercier in medium and deep. And I'm going to go in and just put this in the areas that are going to get oily or the areas that I think are too bright. So I go in and I put it under my eye just to tone down the brightness a little bit. And I pack this into my skin. And then I also do around my mouth because that's where it gets oily. And then my forehead. And I'm going to leave that here until I do the rest of my eyes to let it just sit in a little bit. So my eyeliner of choice today is the Lollipop liner by Beauty Bakery. So I've done both of the liners on my eyes and I brushed off the excess setting powder off my face. Now we are going to put on our lashes, and this lash I'm using is the Farrah lash. The mascara that I'm using is the Voluminous Original by L'Oreal Paris. I'm just gonna put a quick coat on my lashes just to get them black again because there's some yellow that fell on. And the glue that I'm using is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive. I love this glue because it seems to work on every single fake lash that I use. Sometimes certain glues only work on certain lashes and I can't stand that. But so far, this lash glue has not let me down yet. Well, that went on really quickly. Some days I have great lash days, and other days, boy, it takes me a while. I wanted to make sure that I said the brand name correctly before I told you what this lash was. So now I know, and the way you say their brand name is Huda. So this is Huda Beauty's Farrah No. 12 lash, and it is their mink lash, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I got it during their Labor Day sale. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply the other lash. I'm going to be using the Watch Me Blush palette by the Crayon Case. I love this palette because you can use them as eyeshadows or blushes. Most of the time I use them as blushes. And I'm just going to go in with this orange color, the tangerine shade, and use it as my blush. The last step is going to be the lips. Now, for the lips, I'm going to be using a combo by Juvia's Place, and it is out of their new lip collection. And this is Lady. It's a gorgeous nude. And I'm going to use their chocolate liner, Cola. It's a beautiful chocolate. And these two are going to be my combo for doing my lips. going to top it off with their clear gloss. I use their clear gloss for literally everything. I just love this clear gloss. So this is it. This is the final look. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Love you. Bye.